Snapshots. Nacho had a lopsided smile. One corner would be deeply tucked in under his cheek, while the other lagged behind, towering below a small birthmark the shape of Australia. He showed 8 teeth, 4 below and 4 above, although one of his front teeth was chipped. A chipped tooth? He'd say, as his arm tightened his stranglehold around my neck. Is the mark of a man who's been around. I got this one from a hiking trip. It was almost dark when my dad and I were going up this really steep side. See? I was holding this hook thing when all of a sudden I slipped. Actually, he got the chip when he fell off the slide during recess and his tooth on a cement block. He was trying to impress the girls by going down backwards. I know. I was there. I don't know how Nacho and I became best friends. Maybe it was because we always found ourselves in front of the class line during flag ceremonies. He was second to the shortest in class. I was just a little bit taller, but at 9 years old, even a tenth of an inch made a difference. Nacho would compare our height every day, but I was always taller. Being tall isn't so great, he said one day as we crouched low and shot marbles into a circle each in the soil with a stick. Look at Sheila. She's the shortest in class, but she's also the smartest. You know, she got 20 over 20 in the math test, I said as my frosted speedster rolled on the ground, hit a pebble, and came to rest an inch away from his green cat's eye. If you kill me, I'm not playing another game. Don't be such a kid. He took his green marble between his thumb and middle finger, then with his forefinger propelled it into my frosted speedster. Then with his forefinger, with a sharp crack, my speedster rolled far out of the circle. You're dead! Then he did an Indian dance around me. You lose! There was a game we used to play in football class. Coach would drag a large net of thick blue twine filled with footballs to the far end of the field. Singing in his native Spanish, he then lined them up in front of the global post. We would line up on the other end, facing away from the field's center. The shrill pierce of his silver whistle would be our signal to turn quickly on our spiked shoe heels and speed across the green expanse for the footballs. If there were 25 of us, only 22 balls would be available. Those who were not fast enough to grab one were dead and would have to leave the field and engine set on the side. Finally, there would be only 2 boys and 1 football. During one particular afternoon, a full 10 years ago, I stood at one end of the field, giddy with the moist scent of newly mown grass. Skyscrapers loomed over the trees in the distance, and one of those tiny mini whirlwinds swirled dried leaves around my knee-length socks. Before going to where the rest of the class was assembled, waiting for the final outcome of the game, Nacho gave me a little whack in the back, right under the nape. Good luck! I know you'll win, he said with a wide smile. I was uncomfortable, although he smiled so widely that I could see his emerging second molars. There were only two of us left. The red-headed boy beside me put his hands on his hips, arms akimbo, and shook loose the cake dirt behind his spikes. He screeched out one long white lump, then he screeched out the other. Then he half crouched, his arms tense at his sides. I glanced to where the rest of the class was. They had been divided into two groups, one rooting for the red-haired boy and the other rooting for me. The boy was popular, and only Nachi sat quietly in my side. He looked small and awkward 5 feet away from the others, cheering and waving as my competitor stretched. My hands were cold. Coach's whistle sounded unnatural as it whipped into my head, and I barely felt my legs pumping in the mad rush across the field. The football wasn't under the opposite goal arch, where it was expected to be. The red-haired boy skidded to a halt and looked around in confusion. I caught sight of a blur of white and black above me, kicked the goal post, and caught the ball as it fell from the goal arch into my outstretched hands. In seconds, everyone began crawling underneath my legs in notches as we, laughing, jubilantly hit and pushed down their backs. Want to play a game of marbles? Nah, you always win. What are you doing for summer vacation? I don't know yet. Are you studying next year? I thought that was a stupid question, but Nachi's eyes were serious for a moment. He blinked. Of course I am, weirdo, I said quickly. And you are too. Why are you asking such stupid questions? Nacho's lips slowly curved up in the corners into a wide smile, but his remained closed. He clamped my neck in the crook of his arm and shook my head vigorously. He then quickly jumped up and started running across the school field. Race you? He shouted. 5 seconds away. I bounded up after him, my eyes smarting from his coat of dust. But he wasn't at the other end. I looked up closely and examined the tops of the nearby high-rises on the other side of a passing jet plane. Summer vacation started the next day. I never saw Nacho again. And that's the end of my short story.